afternoon, gang. How's everybody? Bless me. Been having a lot of details lately, so it's just been me and my lonesome. So that has been definitely keeping me very, very busy. Okay, this feels better. So I just had to touch up my suspension. Sometimes, for those who know, like, basic alignment. So sometimes, like, if you go over potholes and things of that nature, you have the tie rod, right? And on that tie rod, you have this little screw that keeps everything essentially in place, so that way nothing's like rolling around, right? So that typically, when you hit potholes and things, depending on how you hit it, depending on how deep the pothole is, et cetera, that can slightly shift that screw a little bit. And then over, a couple days, couple weeks, whatever, you may not know about it, but it will start to unalign, your car, especially when it comes to the front. So it's very easy to sort of do. So, like I said, depending on how you hit it, how hard you hit it, how deep the pothole is, whatever the case may be, it can shift that little screw just a tad bit, just enough to be slightly loose, which will then eventually just, again, over time, just start to make your tire, whether it's going inward or going outward, it's just going to unline the car. So essentially that would happen to me. But again, I know how to just go right in, tighten that bolt right back up, make the adjustments accordingly. So we're good on that. So now, everything feels stiff and firm again. Great. Which is awesome. So it's a good thing. Never complain. Anyway, guys, I wanted to talk about car market today. We're not going to talk about car as much today, but because I didn't wash it yet, I will be. Maybe sometime this week. Never get a chance. But car market, guys. Let me turn on this music so everybody can hear me. It's clear. Check 1 2 1 2. Just kidding. So car market, guys. I gotta be honest with everyone, and here's what I foresee happening. I'm no prophet. I'm no professional. So take my advice with a grain of salt. Hopefully it's good advice for everyone. But here's what I see happening. I think because there's a lot of folk who are either behind on their payments, can't make the payments, whatever the case may be. A lot of this, I would say, you guys probably, a lot of you who watch other channels, you probably right now see what's happening in the Airbnb, right? Where, there's a lot of cities who are cracking down on Airbnbs, right? And not allowing Airbnb hosts to do business there. And in turn, what that is doing is obviously that person has a mortgage, right? Because we live in America. Don't let people try to fool you and say, yeah, we're just paying cash for all our homes. Yeah, okay. Believe it when I see it, right? So, that's the tricky thing about social media, is that you get a lot of people who are saying all these things, and, they're definitely not about that life. They're just trying to grind like the rest of us. But the difference is they're trying to fake it more than a lot of us. So, unless you're like the top, 10%, then hey, yeah, we get it. But a lot of us are not in that ballpark. We would like to think we are, but we're not. Because if you're making a ton of money, I can tell you right now, your government is taxing you heavy. Unless you figured out those loopholes. And if you know anything about 2024, they're going to come down on everybody very aggressive, especially for people who are making, 200K, to $1 million. The over $1 million, the millionaires, or those guys have figured out certain loopholes. But anybody in between, basically 140, and up, the loopholes are a lot smaller. I can tell you that. So it's very difficult to simply just think you're gonna buy a house cash, and it's not how these things work. But yeah, you save up enough money. But anyway, what I mean is you can buy a house cash. You're not buying multiple properties cash. You're swimming in some debt there, my friend. You can try to fake it and lie, but the reality is you are. So anyway, getting back on track. So like the Airbnb thing, you got a lot of those people who have mortgages, so they need to make a certain amount per day, right, to essentially profit and have a successful Airbnb business. But with all these things happening, it's becoming a lot tougher to have a successful Airbnb business. So with that being said, what you're seeing now, same thing in the car market. Like a lot of people bought cars for Turo, including myself. And Turo really it's very much like Airbnb. So the same problems you see right now with Airbnb, you're seeing those problems with Turo, right? People buying a lot of cars, right? And Airbnb, people buying a lot of property. And then you think you're just going to be renting out and just, you got this successful plan and all this other stuff. The reality is you're swimming in debt. There are some people, there's a channel that I follow. It's a lady who buy her cars all cash. But again, you can just be faking it. You never know, right? It's really hard to tell. But a lot of people, 86% I think the number is, of people finance their cars. 14% of people are paying cash. So 86%, that's a high number. So you got to think of like all the people that are financing these cars and then trying to start a Turo fleet, right? You guys are probably seeing it. Start a Turo fleet 2024, boom, right? Then you got all these car guru guys and they're claiming that they can, set you up with a successful fleet. All you got to do is pay them a percentage. Yep, you're going to be swimming in debt because when the stuff hits the fan, the first people to go is those people. I can tell you. It won't be fun. But what I think will happen in the car market, guys, I think 2024, you're going to start to see, as interest rates slightly go down, you're going to start to see more people trying to get back into the car market because they're trying to, essentially trade away those beater cars, right? Cars that's all beat up that they had for a couple years now and couldn't trade it in, but there's a lot of negative equity out there, unfortunately, and a lot of the car dealerships, whether small or large or medium size, they are accepting lower and lower numbers for those trade-ins because they don't want more inventory, right? So, this is kind of what I'm picking up from the market. So you're kind of seeing that right now. So people who don't have a trade-in, they are probably, I would consider the lucky ones, I would say, if they got a little bit of cash, you can go and buy a car and finance it and go the route. So we're trying to do that with my brother now. The problem is we have a trade because I have too many damn cars and we need to get rid of one to get one back. We can't just take on more cars because that's just taking on more debt and that would just be stupid, right? Right. So what I think will happen probably 2025, because with all this negative equity, because of how the car market stands, which it will probably be this way, probably another 18 months, it seems to be the lucky number when it comes to a lot of financial stuff. Don't quote me. What I see happening probably in 2025 is that the government is probably going to bail out some of these banks who hold a lot of these auto loans, which in turn will then clear some of the auto loans, at least the ones that are like super behind and super late or whatever, clear some of those auto loans, which will allow people to have essentially a fresh start. This is what I foresee happening. I'm no prophet, I'm no professional, I'm just a guy kind of, or thinks he knows things, right? So here's what I foresee happening. However, also, if that